Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Esports Canada broadcast. We are continuing our production of the Toronto Hearthstone Open. We are going into the ace match of the winners final, Rev versus Zive. This has been a best of three, and we are going to our final match. It's been exciting. Let me introduce BoxerXIII, my co-caster, and talk about the mulligans here. Boxer.
Hey y'all, it's Boxer. Yeah, it's nice to see Rev's next deck. I mean, we haven't seen it yet. Okay, so here we go with the mulls. Yeah, Black Knight, no good. Early game. Oh, well, Rev gets stuck with a Black Knight in his hand. Pally versus Shaman, it's going to be very control-esque. I don't think people are going to be too much in a rush to do damage to each other. It's going to be mostly a board control game.
Absolutely. And here we go, going into turn one. Allow me to introduce myself. I am none other than Galleon, and I hope you ladies and gentlemen enjoy the show. Pardon a little bit of the overlays. This was our first live recording, and we're getting better as we move on. Hopefully you guys all enjoy the match as we continue on. Pretty simple turn twos, hero powers coming out, and here comes the first real play, a Harvest Golem, and he's just going to throw that 1/1 in there, because there's no reason not to, and he can finish it off next turn.
He's got nothing else to do it.
Yeah, allows him to kill it off potentially next turn. Alright, Boxer, what are you seeing from our Shaman coming up here?
I don't know, he's got a million options.
Feral Spirits?
Feral Spirit isn't bad. It's always nice to play that out there, get the board presence, and it's usually hard to deal with.
Oh god, what a card. What else do we have? I mean, we have Pyromancer coin doesn't really do much.
Nothing really.
Yeah, Rockbiter doesn't really do anything. There's a potential to just totem again, but I feel like you've got the two Feral Spirits in your hand. I mean, I know it kills your next turn, but he's looking at that Rockbiter. Wow. Okay, so Rockbiter is the play.
Yeah, he wants to bring it. He wants to make it that 2/1 so he can Pyromancer it next turn. That's really strange. Oh, he's just gonna
straight up coin and clear the board. Wow. Well, there you go. Waste some mana, but you know what? Hey, drop your coin to kill off, get the board control. It's an interesting play.
Yeah, it leaves them even in cards and a nicer looking board
for him.
For Zai here.
And again, just to clarify, this Shaman deck, it's the control board presence type Shaman build, and so I mean it's important. Your goal every turn really is, I mean, can I remove all of his minions and leave something of mine? And if you're hitting that efficiently, you're pretty much doing your job.
Exactly. I don't know about this defender play. I mean, usually in Hearthstone you do want to maximize your mana play per turn, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the 1/1 and the 2/3 there is gonna achieve the same goal. It's gonna threaten to kill the Pyro, right? So there's no point in him wasting an actual card here.
Yeah, and losing that really a 2/2, the buffs and the taunt, that's quite inefficient. And there we go, the just attack to the face. Didn't get the taunt totem that would have been ideal, and now the 1/1 can trade off with the Pyromancer. Again, he still hasn't seen a card, but this Pally deck is fairly late game. It's got heals, it's got your high cost cards that he's very comfortable going late game, especially against a control type Shaman, where the biggest cards you're going to be seeing are things like Fire Elementals, you know, maybe a Ragnaros or something like that. But wow, and again, there it is, the Naked Defender of Argus just doesn't feel like he can pass up, even though he's only facing just a spell power totem on the board.
Yeah, I mean, looking at his hand, he knows there's nothing he's going to be able to Defender of Argus anytime soon at all anyway.
True.
So, I mean, it's not bad. The other play was he could have just Defender of Argus while he still had the token up and kill the Shaman's token and just leave the 3/1 sitting there, and it's still threatening to kill it. But then you leave too many options up to your opponent, and most times you don't want to do that. You just want to limit their options and clear their board, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, especially playing against the Shaman type, because you know that this deck does have so much removal built into it.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, so now we're gonna see the Pharaoh Spirit come out.
One of my favorite cards. And it's just so, it can be just so efficient and so frustrating to deal with. I mean, Equality Consecrate's an option, but feels a little dirty to play it now.
You don't want to do that, right? Because you're
No.
wasting 2 cards for basically just the 1.
Yeah.
And that's one of the strongest combination of cards that Paladin even has, right?
Absolutely. I mean, his Black Knight's not much value here either. He's just going to straight up consecrate and then finish off with what he has. Ah, there you go. That works. That works.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Didn't exactly clear the board this turn, but he did the best he could.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to end up losing his Argus probably, but...
this is a sad turn for Zayas here. I mean, at that 4 mana point, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, there's that downside of those Pharaoh Spirits and the downside of those overloads. You really got to plan out your turns. Would have been nice to... Well, I mean, it's not the best board to drop a Sylvanas into, but it changes the decision-making your opponent's going to be making. But it would have been nice to play an Azure Drake. Would have been nice to play something, but Pharaoh Spirit stopped that. And here we go. Now, the first Elder Peacekeepers come up, and that's going to make you feel a little bit more safe against anything big popping out, like Earth Elemental, even though they're rare, and obviously Fire Elemental and such. Wow, Black Knight on the token. But you know what? He hasn't seen anything else. I mean, he didn't see... He played the Shaman deck in the last game, and he didn't see an Earth Elemental, and he ran the deck fairly far. And they're not common anymore just because of these Black Knight plays.
Yeah, exactly. And playing the Black Knight there isn't the worst play, because, I mean, he does want to put some pressure on the board. He wants something to be there. So, I mean, it's a good play. It's not bad at all. And like you were saying, he did notice that. So, he knows his opponent's deck.
Absolutely. And that gives you such an advantage in your decision-making when you're going in here. And so we'll see. That's the advantage of winning the first game and then going into the ace match, bringing a fresh new deck.
Okay, so Zeiss here is just considering his options.
He's thinking about like that Auctioneer and then dropping off the Silence because he knows he's going to get a new card for it. So it's not card inefficient, but that doesn't seem like an ideal play. And there's the Drake drop. He didn't pick up anything much of value with the Accolade.
Yeah, I mean, a Drake drop is never that bad because, I mean, he does replace himself. But when you're playing it onto a board with a 4/5, it's kind of frustrating because he's just going to kill it off and he's still going to have his creature there.
Exactly. And because that token is there to finish off the 1/1, you know, I mean, he didn't get sort of the totem, the taunt totem that would have been nice or whatnot. But here we go. Is it time for Reg? I mean, he knows he can clear a board and then drop Reg to put 8 damage into the face. I mean, odds are you're going to hit a Hex, but I don't know. Odds are you're going to hit Hex regardless. Do you play something? All of his other cards seem a bit small. He could do Lay on Hands, which is a waste, but just for the cards? No. He already has a good hand of cards. He's just going to Defender of Argus and develop his board? I mean, that would allow him to have the 3 minions out. What do you think?
The thing about Lay on Hands is, even though he's not going to get the full health out of it, Lay on Hands is always best played on an empty board, right? You don't want to be Lay on Hands and then your opponent just hits you for more damage than you even healed, and then you're in a bad spot both turns, right? So the Lay on Hands here isn't terrible, but I mean, you're like you said, your opponent's going to have the hexes now or later, so playing the Ragnaros on an empty board is always good as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's guaranteed 8 damage to the face. You've now been somewhat mana efficient with 8 mana for 8 damage to his face, and now you're going to draw out a response from him. And what if he doesn't have the Hex? What if he has to be inefficient and play 2 or 3 cards to finish off your Reg? And you know, it brings it up. But I can see him wanting to play slow. He knows he has what's realistically the slower of the 2 decks between the 2 players, and he knows that shaman's got a lot of removal, so he's just gonna straight up. Oh, there you go. It's only a 1/4, so why bother finishing it off? I don't know. I think I might have finished it off just to get the spell power off the board because of a lightning bolt, lightning storm, or something of the kind. But
yeah, that's really scary. The lightning storm here,
and
especially if he totems out a spell totem, like,
yeah,
just clears the board.
And at 8 mana,
Rev is in a bad spot. Oh yes, the second.
There it is, and this happened last game as well. And look at that, 2 Azure Drake spell power lightning storm, not seen every day, but we've seen it twice in this match. And there you go, the 1/4 finishes it off, trade it off. Why not to clear that board? And that's a huge clear that really gets him into position. He's feeling really good.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's got the card advantage on his opponent right here, and he's got the board presence. This is why I feel that Ragnaros that other turn earlier would have been better, because now you're stuck where if you play Rag here and you do hit the face, then there's so many things that could just kill you Ragnaros, and he still has the board presence.
Yeah, it's not hard to do 4 damage at this point in the game at all, and there's you still the potential of the hexes and all the rest of it. The death rattle coming. I mean, I don't know, but the A bomb it does trade, but
yeah, I mean it's probably his only card that he can play. That's the thing, like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, realistically, what else do you do?
It's kind of what I was talking. See, this is what kind of I was talking about. Lay on hands a little while ago too. If you lay on hands here, he's gonna heal for 3. And he's gonna take 4 next turn, and he's still gonna have no board presence.
Oh, Alt
okay.
tab, Alt tab. There we go, back into the game. Then here we go.
Good thing that wasn't like right at the end of the game.
Well.
Didn't lose a crucial moment there.
No, not at all. Not at all. We can see our players in the player cam. Not the best camera angle in the world, but we have them angled away from a screen showing the game to the crowd. And again, this at the Microsoft Store at Yorkdale. They were gracious enough to provide us with a venue for our $100 prize pool Hearthstone tournament. And there's a small crowd watching and a little bit of casting, if you would, in the venue. So we've got them with their noise-canceling headphones. All right, so what's the play? Do we drop a
Size
Drake?
has to trade here. Yeah,
he has to trade, and then he drops the Drake after. I mean, you're not going to get a better value for your Twilight Drake than right now.
Exactly. Probably drop the Drake in the Blade Master or the Drake in the Acolyte.
Acolyte's sort of a slower play, but deals with those 1/1s. It makes that hero power something that the Paladin doesn't want to use for the next few turns, at least till he removes that Acolyte of Pain.
Exactly. Oh, he's considering the silence here. I don't know why. Because even if he silences it, it's still going to have the 4 attack, and he's still going to have to kill it.
Yeah, I mean, and to silence it without playing the Auctioneer, it just feels ugly. Playing the Black Knight and then taking the 2 damage feels ugly too. I don't know why he... Well, I mean...
It does kind of feel ugly because...
Now he's just taking 4 damage. And I mean, say he clears that... I mean, well, it is what it is. And I mean, It's
not bad.
Yeah, I mean, at least one of the minions is at a Consecrate range. And he's already seen one of the Consecrates played, so... yeah, he's knowing that the Paladin probably doesn't have a whole lot of AoE. I mean, there's a potential of Pyromancer, but it's not going to clear the board easily. So, actually, I'm liking it. Here comes the Defender of Argus, everyone's favorite card, so much so that it had to be nerfed. And what's going to be the follow-up with this? Steve?
Yeah, personally, I don't even like using Defender of Argus anymore. I feel it just dies to everything.
It does, actually. That 1 extra health really makes a huge difference, surprisingly. And now we'll see. No, but you're right. I mean, because generally there almost isn't there's almost no card that's worth playing that doesn't have 2 attack at any point in the game ever, and so almost anything that's ever on the board can finish off that Argent. But here he goes. He has to blow another card on it.
Hey, see? There goes Argent Commander from 1 mana curse.
There it is, and the Auctioneer keeps it efficient and picks up an exact replacement of that card. Here comes that Twilight Drake out. It's going to be a nice 4-7 or so.
Yeah, Zeiss is in a really nice position, but he's got to know, like, Paladin can clear the board at any time, so he doesn't really want to overextend. The Acolyte of Pain here, I think, is the better option, because he can get the damage in.
Yeah, and that Auctioneer has, you know, almost like a taunt, kill me bullseye on it. Just because it's so scary to leave it out there, and a Shaman that you know is probably, it's a control deck, it's probably loaded with spells. You can't allow that card efficiency and that card draw to keep on. Well, what are we going to see? Are we going to see... we could... Equality is not going to happen. Oh, well, Pyromancer Equality, there you go. I mean, he already attacked with the token. He's almost committed to it as soon as he attacked with the token.
Yeah, I know. And, like, the thing is, though, he's behind in cards, so...
I know. I mean, he's hoping to lay on hands, maybe a Tier 4 Dragon can start getting him back in the game, but there are hexes. Tier 4 Dragon's not going to do what it might do against another class, and lay on hands is, as you've said, really only ideal on an empty board. You hate to waste a turn just to get cards. Wow.
Wow, and Zeiss tops the hex, the churn.
I mean, he already had the silence, but now he's got the hex too. So just a straight up full power removal on that potential Tyrion. And yeah, here we go. Let's get this guy out there. Make him that 4/9. Never gonna get more value than that, realistically, out of the Drake.
I can't believe he's running the Ancestral. What does that even do? I've never even seen this card in a deck before.
It is, we can Google it, but is it not? It's healing. It's healing to even a minion or yourself. Oh, hold on. Player's got to check his phone. Looks like he's getting his text message from his girlfriend. Can't ignore those, even when you're in money tournaments.
Might just be his friend telling him, yeah, you're gonna win. Can you play a little bit faster? And he's like, yeah, okay. And he crouches back down and goes back to thinking.
Well, as I said, the tournament rules, we did have a timer in place, but what we did was let the opponent call time on an opponent. So if your opponent was taking too long, you give them 30-45 seconds, you can call time, the admin will approach and force an end to the turn. But again, people just playing very manner, no one wanting to play that. Hearthstone not quite implementing a timer mode for challenge matches, and so playing it nice and slow and really getting a chance to analyze and think through the turns. Hopefully we can help you through that as we go. So, what are we looking at? Are we looking at a Tyrion 4 Dragon?
Rev here was, yeah, no, I don't think you can play the Tyrion 4 Dragon right now. But Rev here was kind of unfortunate that Zeiss was lucky enough to get the Taunt Totem here, because the Iron Beak onto the Drake, you can utilize his token and kill it off, right?
Oh, there's the lay on hands. What else? What other choice that he has? And now he has options for next turn. Is he going to silence the Drake anyways? Just to...
Yeah, it looks like.
Well, you got to spend the mana, right? There you go. He's still got the Peacekeeper. He's got a Hammer. He's got Avenging Wrath. He's got Consecrate. He's got his 2 big legendaries. I mean, he's got cards to play.
Yeah, and he's at a healthy amount of life.
Yeah.
The only thing is the board presence,
which is very, very weak, and is giving away even more cards to the Shaman with this Acolyte. Now here's the thing: do you want to? How does he gonna want to save the Drake? He's gonna play his other Drake, so he can make that another 4/9. Seems like a reasonable play. Do you want to play a totem now, knowing that it won't be a taunt totem? Do you want to just...
Ancestral Spirit.
There you go.
When that minion is destroyed, return it. Hey.
There you go.
That's an interesting tech.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the mechanics of it when it's played on the Twilight Drake, if it comes back as the 4/1 or if it comes back based on the number of cards in your hand. I'm just...
Whoa, we're about to find out.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Mythbuster. And comes back as a 4/1. So, ladies and gentlemen, Don't
he's
play
even
that.
sitting back in his chair right now, going like, "What?"
I thought it was gonna come back as a 4-8. No, it comes back in the state that it was before that it died. Yeah, I think he was about to say oops. But you know what? How can you say oops when you've got a huge board presence like that, even though it didn't work out the way it wanted?
Right.
Equality, not the worst card in the... sorry, not Equality, but Consecrate, not the worst play here. But how do you see this coming out?
Well, he doesn't want to just, I don't know, he wants to make his mana be efficient, right?
Yeah,
But
cool.
there's so much stuff on the board. He has to Consecrate here.
Yeah.
I feel like Consecrate Peacekeeper is how this turn's gonna go.
Yeah, make that a 1/7. Alright, well the Consecration comes out, he had to clear that, gives another card to the Shaman, that Accolade of Pain really paying dividends. He's looking at that 4/7 like, oh yeah, man, there's that 4/7 I still gotta deal with. What do I do with this? And
But yeah, it seems like he's just falling behind each turn. Rev doesn't... He can't play his threats. Like, he knows he can't play his threats because of the Hex possibility in Zai's hand.
And he just doesn't have the cards to play to draw the hexes, is what's happening. I mean, he hasn't been able to get a presence, a threat that isn't his true endgame, irreplaceable threats to draw those hexes. And so, I mean, what else can he do? He's really thinking about this. He doesn't want to use it. He wants to save that for maybe a fire elemental or something like it. But no, I mean, you got to get rid of this board presence. It's going to take a lot of work to kill a 4/7 with what he has in his hand, and he had to make that the 1/7. And just look at this huge card advantage. I mean, God, if this wasn't a computer game, I don't even know how you hold all these cards in your hand at once. And here you go.
You make a good point, actually. Most other card games, they cap your hand.
And for good reason.
They have a much lower hand cap. Hand cap of 10 in this game, of course.
Is he gonna... No, don't Ancestral Healing the Drake. Okay, but he's gonna Ancestral Healing the 4/3. Interesting, again, he's not even using this... Oh, no, there you go. Make it the 4/7.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, a lot of people don't really play the Injured Blade Master with Shaman, but I think it's pretty good because of the Lightning Totem, right? You can gain a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, the Healing Totem, yeah.
But throwing up the card he just played there to heal it up to full and give it taunt, that's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting deck. It's an interesting choice, and I don't know. I mean, he's got such card advantage that he can be a little inefficient, and you know, I mean, 2 cards for a 4/7 at the end of the game doesn't sound like the most impressive thing in the world, but in this game, it's working out fantastic for him.
Right, and I mean, I'm sure that's really good against aggro decks, right?
And that's a play that can happen really very early in the game because it's a low mana cost. You're quite right.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
All right, here comes that Fire Elemental. There's one of those big cards that he has that might draw a Hex. What am I saying? My goodness.
Yes.
Have I been casting for more than... Oh, God.
Yes.
Let's
Evil
reset
Hex.
my draw. Hey, you never know when that power... Did we check the deck list? Maybe he snuck a Hex in. Oh. No, if only, if only. I can actually envision some interesting modes where Blizzard does allow some class mixing and whatnot, and I think that could create some really interesting games. If you take the class restrictions off and just leave all the cards open to everyone and see what happens.
Wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously as its own play mode, but I think it'd be really interesting to see how the potential of Hearthstone is just so impressive. And we'll see where it goes. But there's that Fire Elemental. He's just gonna straight up blow off that 2/3, and this 4/7 is gonna, if it's attacking anything. Oh no, silence.
Oh,
I like it. I like it.
I was a little worried that he didn't just attack directly and go up the front, but
Yeah.
I didn't exactly see the silence there.
No, well, there's so many cards. How can you see them all? But no, fantastic play. And again, you can be card inefficient, and that wasn't even necessarily so inefficient considering. Avenging Wrath not going to do a whole lot. Hammer of Wrath not going to do a whole lot.
Nothing's gonna do a whole lot
No,
here.
oh, the Sun Fury Protector is kind of a waste.
Maybe just Ford Ring here and
for
pray.
hope for
I don't know.
Do you rag and hope for the hex? No, you can't. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you're gonna want your reg to get hexed over the Tyrion, right?
because you need to see that weapon out of him at least. I mean, that Ashbringer, that 5/3 is such a game changer. But look at this board. How do you deal with a board like this? He's already done both of his consecrates, right? I mean, we don't. Do we have another equality in his deck? I mean, it's.
No, he's coming to terms with it, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. When you have to hammer a Wrath, an O2 taunt totem.
Oh god. Oh god.
Oh, that's really cool. I never noticed how the hammer just stays there on the character. I like that animation.
Indeed, says Uther, the poor paladin leader who was murdered by none other than Arthas, trying to deliver Arthas's father's ashes to a suitable gravesite. But anyways.
Whoa, all the lore.
Oh god, I love WoW. Love the WoW lore. Anyways,
Yeah, this game's that's the beauty of this game. I mean, you have a lot of people who played WoW and then play this and get such an appreciation for the lore. But then there are a ton of people who've never played. Well, not a ton. There are a lot of people who haven't played WoW, and but love card games, right? So you get that huge mass of people coming into the game, and it's a really great community.
And yeah.
Really feel like this game can go very far.
Absolutely. And as I say that Hammer of Wrath is sempre ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous, but I mean, it's such an awkward play to be forced into. But it did draw him his final equality. And that gives him the potential next turn of maybe making some action happen. I mean, an equality Avenging Wrath, that can clear a board. An equality, maybe he picks up his other Pyromancer. I think he still has one left. You know, there were still options here. And with his one token on the board, it's just not afraid of losing anything, which has obviously just been eliminated. But it looks like he's going to take at least 10 damage to the face here. This might be a good time to rag. I mean, what else are you going to, right? Get the 8 damage straight in, and...
True, and I think that's exactly what Rev would want, right? I mean, Rev would just love it if Zeiss would just throw down all of his threats right now, and that he could get that good quality Avenging Wrath off, right?
Yeah, well,
So,
and he plays it the smart way. He plays it slow. I've already got the board presence. There's no need to risk my big cards against a Paladin that can still have another equality in his deck. So well played by Rev, as you say. Well played by Zeiss, who keeps it calm and wastes 8 mana as it seems, but makes the right play. And here it comes.
Here's the thing, he's gonna play this. He's gonna kill the board.
Boom.
But then, I mean, he doesn't really. Now he's not gonna have a great follow-up against
Ancient
cards.
Watcher, and that's the play.
Oh
There
yeah,
it
for
is.
sure. Especially with the Sun Fury, he can give it taunt next turn.
Yeah, exactly. He can give a taunt next turn and drop one of his big 2 legendaries, whichever is his preference based on the board situation.
We're getting to the end game here, actually. Zeiss only has 4 cards in his deck.
Fatigue could be a factor. You know, we're starting to... It's going to come down to real efficiency. And I suspect, because we haven't seen much of the healing, of the 7 or so cards remaining in this Paladin deck, half of them are probably going to involve healing of some kind.
I have no
And here
time
comes,
for
well,
games.
Sylvanas Windrunner. And a Feral Spirits. There we go. Huh. Wow, and
Hey, Rev
Sylvanas
gets his
is
own
the
Sylvanas.
frog. Oh my goodness. Look at these production values, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, our first live tournament that we were recording, so it was a little bit of patience. We'll definitely be getting better as time goes on. And we'll be doing another of these tournaments soon. Hopefully bringing them to you at a fairly quick pace. So what's the option? I mean, there's only 4 cards in a hero power, so the decision tree is fairly small, But what is it? Do we taunt this Ancient Watcher? I mean, does it do anything if we do? Do we play our own Sylvanas and then leave the potential of a Sylvanas glitch match as to who gets what stolen?
Well, what should happen is the first Sylvanas that is played should trigger first.
Oh yeah, that's what should happen.
So, so I mean,
wow, Sylvanas behind 2
if
taunts.
he's able to get rid of these taunts, kill his opponent's Sylvanas.
Interesting. Sylvanas behind 2 taunts on both sides. Does this draw Hex? See, but here's the thing now. Now we finally have a Hex target that isn't Tyrion Fordring or Ragnaros.
Right.
And that's gonna, he's gonna see a Hex played, and now he can play one of those big legendaries and know that, okay, maybe one of them gets Hex, but he's gonna have the other one to do work after. And we'll just have to see here. What's your thought on this play?
Yeah, I feel like Hex is probably the best play. I mean, if he Hex and he starts taking things apart here, yeah, you can just wait him out.
Yeah.
I mean, his opponent only has 2 cards in hand, right? So
you're right. Just efficiently remove his cards. Know that you're low on cards as well. Ooh, wow. Wild Pyromancer play. We're going to see a Hex.
oh yeah, and with this, he's going to be able to clear his opponent's board. No, not your own creature.
I think he's using the trackpad on the laptop to play, and that's why we're... All right. Well played, sir. Got that onto the right target. And there we go.
Oh, with this, he's just going to be able to steal the 2/2 if he so pleases.
Yeah, I don't know if that's not the hyper-efficient use of a Sylvanas, but considering this late-game situation...
Right, yeah, I mean, you still get a card, right?
Yeah.
It's a card, and... Oh, that's really
Oh,
nice. Now,
Healing Totem. Does that change how he plays this?
yeah, I mean, now you have more options, right?
Do you Lightning
If you don't
Bolts?
attack with Sylvanas, it'll heal up, and then you
With
can kill
5, it doesn't die to anything on the board.
Watcher for free.
Yeah. Oh god. How do you play this now? And he knows he has the 1 taunt up, so I mean you just take the 2/2 into the 2/2 and you leave your 1 taunt up. You take one of the Feral Spirits into the Sun Fury Protector, and then he's gonna have a 4/4 that's probably gonna have to attack your 2/2 taunt, and you're gonna, or 2/3 taunt, and you're gonna have everything healed up. That would be the slow, efficient.
He'd have to
value
use
type
both
play.
Feral Spirits on the Watcher, and then attack
Oh,
the
you're
2/2
right. My
Sylvanas.
goodness. Yeah.
Because the spell would just kill off his own.
Yeah. That's well said. Well said.
Just thinking it over.
I wonder.
I don't know, like, we know Rev's hand, right? So you're gonna want to keep Sylvanas up, right?
We want to
But-
keep Sylvanas.
But I mean, if I was in Zai's position, I wouldn't think that just taking the 2/2 is such a bad play.
At the same time, though, he does have every reason to suspect that Rev has been holding on to some big legendary cards because he hasn't seen them. He hasn't seen it. I mean, he hasn't seen anything that's been big yet
Right.
at all.
none survive.
So, no, but here it is.
Yep. See? See, well, the thing with this is, too, you get more damage in, and even if your opponent plays Rag, you have so many targets for it. But, yeah, I think for
Tyrion.
sure we're going to see the Tyrion Fordring come out here.
Yeah, and Tyrion makes things exciting. Because he's gonna draw a lot off that board or out of the hand, and he's going to threaten lethal in the weapon that he creates when he dies. And I don't know that there's another silence. I think both of the Earthshocks were played by our Shaman player. So
He's very low on life, though. That's the thing. But, I mean, if your opponent has a Hex, your opponent has a Hex. You're going to lose either way.
well said.
Yeah. And Ragnaros isn't going to put up any sort of a shield. So the Fordring really is the only play here.
Absolutely.
Reporting for duty.
Absolutely. And there he is in all of his glory and splendor. Just screaming, silence hex me. But we'll see. What comes out of our shaman player. We can see. We can actually see Rev sitting in his chair, just biting his nails. Like, oh god, I hope he doesn't have what he needs to deal with this. This is my big comeback play. And as we know, I mean, well, he doesn't have a clean solution. He doesn't have a solution for this Tyrion that doesn't involve Tyrion dropping that Ashbringer 5/3 weapon with 15 potential damage. Whoa, somebody needs to lock out that Windows key. And there we go, back into Hearthstone. And here comes the thought process. What do we do? What do we do? I mean, he's got the potential to remove Tyrion, no problem. I mean, not no problem, but I mean, at cost. But
Right.
sure, it can be removed. How would you approach it?
I'm trying to figure out a way to get lethal here.
Yeah.
You know, if he rock biters his, yeah, exactly. If he does that, it gets rid of the bubble. And then he can kill Tyrion. And then he can do 6.
Wow.
It's down to 5.
And
Fire Elemental Lightning Bolt. Yep. It's over.
Wow. And that's the answers.
It's always important to every turn you want to
Wants to do with
wants to do it
Flash.
the fancy way. So fancy. But yeah, I mean, your first thought when these life totals are 15 below is, can I get lethal?
Yeah.
And you should try and figure out every situation, every combination of your cards to see if you can, if you do have that lethal, right?
Absolutely.
So, exactly. He took his time, he figured it out, and yeah.
He made the right play. And this is a player who missed lethal in game 1? Game 1.
2, I believe.
I think it was game 1 and he ended up winning it and then losing game 2.
Right.
So, but absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We are at the finish of this ace match. Congratulations to Zaev, and I don't know if I'm ever pronouncing his name correctly, but he is now moving on to the finals of our Hearthstone tournament in the winner's bracket. So he's going to have that advantage as he goes in there for the chance to pick up that sweet, sweet Hearthstone money. Once again, this is an Esports Canada broadcast, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying. We're going to be putting up more content and more Hearthstone tournaments in the future. My name is Guy, and my co-caster BoxerXIII. Send us on our way, sir.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and a lot more content coming your way.
Absolutely. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen.